you mentioned them, you name dropped them, you faced them in the ring on the Indies. And one of the more interesting aspects of that too is what was like your favorite match facing out of those three guys? And Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin, Billy Gunn, and Matt Hardy.
Man, out of those, it's definitely going to be Matt Hardy. I think that, and here's the interesting thing about Matt. I'm going to pull the curtain back for a little bit to have this conversation, but it's a good conversation to have. So basically at that time, Matt Hardy came in, and the week before that match, because the match was scheduled, but Matt Hardy did kind of a seminar with me and some of the other guys for Old School Wrestling. And all of this happened in Odessa, Texas. And so he ran a seminar, and he got to see us operate in the ring, got to see how we move, got to see how we wrestle and everything like that. So, and the seminar went fairly well. He had good things to say about a bunch of us that were there that night. And all in all, we just said, all right, we'll reconvene, whenever it's showtime. So on the day of the show, he's in the locker room, and I walk up to him. And, obviously Matt Hardy, I don't need to explain or describe what kind of superstar he is. He was fresh at this time, though. He was fresh off of WWE TV. So he had taken that little bit of a break and was kind of working the indies. And this was just before he landed in TNA Wrestling and ROH and did a couple of the other things that he did. And this was a little bit before, before he started doing the sort of the crazy Matt Hardy gimmick with the delete and all of that kind of stuff. So this was like an in-between period of that. So anyway, I walk up to him in the locker room, and he goes, "Hey man, what is the time limit on this match?" And I said, "Well, we've got an hour time limit, but of course, Matt, we don't have to go the time limit." And he said, "Well, what do you think about going the time limit tonight?" And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like the hour? Like, I was so blown away by the statement. I was like, are you talking about wrestling an hour? And all these things are running through my head like, bro, like, you're fresh off of WWE TV. We're in this random town in Odessa. Do you really want to wrestle me an hour? I just was sitting here thinking, why would he even want to do this? Like, it blew my mind that he even suggested that. And what he said to me, I will never forget. And it's something that I really hold dear to this day. He said, "I wouldn't suggest this and I wouldn't ask this of you unless I really felt like you could handle this. And after working with you the other day and after seeing you at the seminar, and I've watched some of your matches, man, and the promo that you did against me was good. I know you're capable of this. I know you have this in you. And I wouldn't ask you to do this if I didn't have faith that you could do this." And that's all I needed to hear. And I said, "Okay, sir. I guess we're going the hour then." And sure enough, we wrestled 55 minutes to a time limit draw.
Wow.
And then there was even post-match stuff after it was over. We wrestled to a time limit draw. Of course, Matt, I was the heel at the time. Matt Hardy was the babyface, obviously, coming in. And he was like, "Hey, Jastin, we wrestled an entire hour. I mean, come on, Jastin. We got to give these people 5 more minutes. We got to give them a winner. There needs to be a winner tonight." And me being the sort of chicken you-know-what heel at the time, I was like, "Look, man, I don't get paid by the hour. You had 55 minutes to beat me, and you couldn't do it.
That's cool.
I'm going home." So obviously, I was about to pack my belt up and go, and he threw me in the ring, gave me a twist of fate. The crowd popped. It was a big night for both of us, and that's sort of how the shenanigans ended. But yeah, last thing I'll say about it, I'll never forget Matt Hardy for that. I'll never forget that experience. It was a great match. I really learned a lot about calling it in the ring and especially how to tell a story that long in the back. And afterwards, the respect that I had for the locker room at the time, the respect that people had for me in the West Texas area, that was a match that truly solidified me in the West Texas area. So that will always be my favorite independent match. And I will never forget Matt Hardy for giving me that experience.
And he threw a bone at you at that point, and seeing there's something that has potential, and knowing that he could have said no, but seeing something that has that potential, Matt saw something, and he could have been it could have been 30 minutes, but to push you within that hour of that match, and knowing that Matt gave you such a huge ovation from not only him but everyone who watched and in the locker room, it must have been a very much revitalizing time, because you're grinding like everyone else, but to have that nod from Matt Hardy to say, let's go push this to the limit, and you were basically over the top whenever that moment happened.
Yeah. And it's very rare that something like that happens because normally if two guys are going to do that, that's normally a match that's advertised. Normally if
Mhm.
guys are going to go to 30 minutes or go to an hour, that's something you normally advertise, or you say, hey, these guys are going to wrestle an hour, they're going to do an Iron Man or whatever the case may be. But to just on the cuff, on the fly, no initial warning, him just go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go an hour with you, it's unheard of. And so
Yeah.
it was such an honor that he did that. And the fact that then to put that confidence in me beforehand and say, I believe in you. I know that you can do this. And I wasn't a great friend of his. There was no family history. I'm not
Hmm.
somebody who has been signed and that he knew or anything like that. He just watched me work and said, I know you can do this. And that is
Yeah.
just so cool, man. It's just one of the most dearest experiences I've had in professional wrestling.